I'm still in. From one night race to another, that's right. We are back once again for the Tier 3 championship. Sorry, we already have a retirement. That's a bit of a surprise, but moving on from that. But welcome along, everyone, to Tier 3. We are here for round 2 of Breakout Racing League, and where other to start than Saudi Arabia. Yes, the Jeddah Corniche circuit is the track we're here at tonight, in which we've got 27 corners to negotiate through here. That's right, it's like the most corners by like 4, which is pretty crazy, but still nonetheless. And 3 DRS zones, 1 going into turn 1, 1 going into turn 27, and 1, I don't exactly know the corners. I think it's like 23, 24? Don't quote me on that. But yeah, this is pretty notorious for what could be a DRS train, to put it simply, this track. But if there's one thing that we all know, is that this track is going to be very harsh in terms of mistakes, because not only is it a street circuit, but it is the fastest street circuit in Formula 1. So with that, one mistake and you will practically be in a wall. So that is what the drivers here are going to have to wait on, are going to have to, well, sort out and hopefully get to the end of the race, and you could score well. We'll have to find out. Last week, we had a very entertaining Bahrain Grand Prix for our season opener, which saw one underdog in the AlphaTauri take the win ahead of Gary, in which Gary did a very bodacious, or is that the word? I don't know. But a very optimistic strategy to go onto the hards after lap 4, because there was a safety car, and he was 92% on tires. 92%. That still blows my mind right now. But he managed to take it in P2, and Shredder did the same thing, and he managed to grab P3. So there you go. That's what our podium was last week, which obviously saw one underdog take the championship lead from Gary, and Shredder rounding out the top 3. Looking over the team's championship, Mercedes so far has the high ground. Yes, the high ground. Yes, okay. With AlphaTauri in second, just 3 points separating them. Then it's Alpine in third, and Red Bull in fourth. McLaren rounding out the top 5. Aston Martin, Alfa Romeo are the last 2 teams to have scored points. And, well, anybody else still can here this week with Williams, Ferrari, and Haas. They can definitely score some points. We'll just have to find out come the actual race. But right now we are here for qualifying, and qualifying might be a bit of I guess, an ideal way to go through this track. Because if you are on pole, you are kind of leading a bit of a DRS train. That's Shredder out of qualifying already. So Shredder is out. And that is, I believe, in Sector 1. Get a look over. Oh, no, that's Arabian Killer off the track. I was going to see. And I was going to try and see where that stricken Alpine was. He's just lost it. He's lost the rear, and the car is gone. But nonetheless, that is already 2 retirements out of qualifying, so that is not the greatest of starts to this qualifying. Let's hopefully that be the rest. My name is Minico. I forgot to mention that, by the way. My name is Minico, and alongside me is Zach. I'm not sure if he's here. Can he confirm?
No, I cannot confirm.
Oh, okay. I guess we'll move on then.
Yeah, it's very tough.
So, yeah, it is. It is very tough. I can agree with you on that. But anyways, moving on. So, Zach, we know how this track is. This is the second season that we've had the streets of Jeddah. And we know for sure that this is a track worthy of punishing mistakes. Do you expect to see a bit of chaos here tonight? Possibly quite a few safety cars?
Well, if we go off of what happened last time, we can go for an answer around yes. But considering the next gen of Formula 1 cars around here in the street circuits, it's gonna be mentioned a lot here tonight, by the way, folks. With the next gen cars, we already all know there's gonna be less dirty air. With that being said, the DRS as well won't matter as much. So I don't think we'll see much as as much games being played for DRS, but I still think that we're gonna have some happen here and there, but not much to the extent of the Johan Laura and Slayer battle, if you remember from 2 seasons ago. But I'm
This
expecting
is
it to
tier
be a
3,
good
not tier
race.
4.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, for those that didn't see it 2 seasons ago, back in tier 4, we had a tremendous battle with Johan Laura and not Shredder, sorry, Slayer, and that pretty much went all the way until, I would say, like lap 19, and then one of them made a mistake, and that kind of sealed that, but it was still an entertaining battle nonetheless. We'll see if we possibly get that here tonight. We'll just have to find out, but right now, we're still here in qualifying. Right now, Rutsky in the Aston Martin currently top in the session with a 129.3, over 7/10 ahead of last week's previous pole man, Yordster, who is currently lined up in second place, and Butters rounding out the top 3. I think the top 3 are separated by, 1.5 seconds. Already quite a bit of a gap. And that's something we're going to have to look out for, because if you're confident around this track, you can gain a lot of time. And with that, gaps may be a little bit bigger than we saw in Bahrain last week.
It could be as well. Like what you said, this track is really a get in the zone type of track, at least in my opinion. Because if you get in the zone, I think you can gain a couple tenths, but like, once again, you're just going to have to be in the zone, really, for both qualifying and the race in order to be up front, because if you're not in the end zone, you're going to be worried about hitting the wall, having mistakes. And if you're thinking about a mistake happening, then chances are, speaking of mistakes, Gary is around in Sector 1, tried to go flat out in the S section, but just has a loop around. But back to what I was saying anyway, just a little bit of wing damage for Gary. It doesn't matter for him. He still has 11 minutes left in qualifying. He can go out and do another run. But anyway, I was saying that if you're worrying about having mistakes, getting snap of oversteer and understeer, you're more than likely, chances are, it's going to happen. It's going to be more likely for a mistake to occur compared to when you're just thinking about catching the guy ahead and passing him.
Yeah, being pretty much in the zone is what you really want to do around this track. I mean, if you remember, in the actual Saudi Arabian Grand Prix back in 2021, during qualifying, where you saw Max Verstappen absolutely giving it everything, and then he just had a little bit of a moment at the final corner and completely bottled what would have been one of the most amazing laps probably out of the entire season. But yeah, just one little slip up and that could potentially have you lose your focus or something like that. It's really a very tough track to master. And we'll just have to see who is able to master it and take pole. And most importantly, who's going to keep their head calm throughout this session. We'll just have to find out. So far, we've got 11 drivers that have set a lap time, though 2 of them are kind of not really all that competitive, that being Gary and Arabian Killer Act. They're 12 and 17 seconds off, respectively. In which that, well, if they were that far off, then yikes. But no, that is not the case. So right now, technically, we have 9 drivers that have set a lap time. Rutsky all the way down to DeCoach. The gap between them separated by 3.8. So like I said, already a bit of a gap, but we still have plenty of drivers that have yet to set a lap time. That being one underdog who qualified on the front row last week, Ryan Alcon, Stig, Finfan, and Nava. And obviously we already lost Shredder and the Unknown from this qualifying session, but we'll still have to wait for all these other drivers to set a lap time, in which Ryan Alcon is going to be one of them to come across the line, and he is going to go up to P6, so decent lap time from the Alpine, and we'll see if he can possibly better that, currently 1.6 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, like we said last week, it's a new next-gen car shaking up the grid a little bit. And the driver that I'm looking at right now is the McLaren P4 BRL Butters. Remember, he's been here, I think this will make it his 5th season, at least from what I know. He could have been there earlier. But anyway, he has not had a great record. Not most of it has not been his fault. But with this new shakeup with the next-gen cars, he's in P4 right now. He had the same type of result happening to him last week. Let's see if he can carry his momentum through this week.
Yeah, last week he managed to grab a P6 out of that race, so it was definitely a good effort from the McLaren. But right now he is on a lap, but he's currently a 10th and a half down on his lap time. But yeah, Butters was just kind of silent last week. Obviously he was
and
there.
He hit the wall.
He's hit the wall. It looks like he's lost a little bit of his end plate, and he has. So he'll probably go into the pits on this lap. But yeah, Butters kept it pretty consistent and pretty cool throughout last week, and that managed to help him up to a P6 finish after starting. If I look over at the qualifying, he started 12th. So he made up quite a few positions as one underdog has retired. Oh, he's retired. And trying to look over where that is, going on board
corner
with Echo. Yeah, that is the exit of the banked corner. Another yellow flag in Sector 1. Oh, the car just disappeared right after. But I saw a little bit of wing damage, so there you go. He just simply lost the rear. He is out of qualifying and will start, at best, 15th. At worst, 18th. But we'll just have to see if anybody else can set lap time. It just matters on Stig, FinFan, and Nava. But already, the championship leader, I know it's only one round, but still, he is technically the leader, already down in qualifying.
I'm looking at drivers right now that haven't set a lap time. One to bring up is, well, we can count Arabian Killer's lap time, so I can't say his name, but I was going to say Echo, but he invalidated. Arabian Killer's 13 seconds up on his time. Wow, what a surprise. But sets a purple sector 2. Let's see if that's legitimate or not. We're going to have to wait and see until he crosses the line as he's going through the infamous corner where Max Verstappen bottled his chance for pole for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix last year. Arabian Killer doesn't do the same thing that he did. Now coming across, the stride will get DRS, will be activated. Now coming across the line now, he'll set a 33.2, which will put him P11. And Gary as well is on a legitimate lap time. Going through. Oh, I see that sword around. Is that FinFan? Yes, it is. Izzy slaps the inside wall of his rear wing. I wouldn't be surprised if that is wing damage to the McLaren driver moving forward in this qualifying.
Luckily for him, he hasn't retired. Gary with a purple sector 2, currently 9.1 up on his lap time. Let's see what he can do through the third sector, which should be pretty easy. I mean, it's only really one legitimate corner. Well, actually, no, it's a couple legitimate corners, but nonetheless, it's still pretty easy. And nonetheless, it's just a matter of what kind of setup he has to help with the straight line. We'll just have to find out. He's going to open the DRS for one last time through the lap. He's going to come across the line. Where does the Mercedes go? Goes onto the front row, so a big improvement there from Gary. But he's currently 0.17 off of pole position. Nobody has been able to beat Rutski, by the way. He set that lap time early, and he stood on top ever since. So right now, that's looking like a pretty good lap.
There's an Alfa Romeo dead in Sector 2. That is Redeemer. Why is there no yellow flags?
I don't know. This game is weird.
This game wants drivers to kill themselves, apparently. But you mentioned drivers... But you mentioned drivers not being able to challenge Ritsky, but I see the other Alfa Romeo driver, Gert, I don't know how to say his name. He's 14th up, and that will barely put him in pole position. Coming through the final corner, stays in third gear, no oversteer. I'm really surprised by that. I can't go in third gear through that corner. But anyway, coming across the line, he's going to say 130 flat. He is not going to go for pole, as that actually misread his time. He was a second and a half down.
He still lines up P4, though, so currently he is on the second row of the grid. We've got 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Just managed to see that last second. But yeah, we've got just over 4 minutes left of qualifying, and only one driver that hasn't retired has yet to set a lap time, though he is on a lap time now, that being Nava. I nearly took control of Mick Schumacher, but not the case, though Nava is actually invalidated. So, scratch that. We'll see if he could possibly have it. I think he has enough time to go onto a fresh set, and then go for another lap, but he'll only have one flying lap left to go. Seeing who else is next to set lap time, it's gonna be Echo. Or nope, never mind, he hasn't validated.
It's Butters, I think.
Yeah, it is Butters. He's currently 0.25 up on his lap time. See what he can do through this sector. Possibly a little bit of a rear-end squirrel-y moment, I don't know. But he's managed to keep it going, though, through the DRS now. Basically one of the 3 DRS zones that's going to be extremely long. I just assumed you died there. Anyways, he's 6/10 up on his lap time. Oh, your internet went, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. But Butters currently just under 7/10 up on his lap. No, sorry, 6/10 up on his lap time. So McLaren is on a good lap. Where does he go? He only improves one position, actually, but still good enough for P6. And we'll see if that stays, though. A couple people are on their out lap, and one person that is currently on a lap, that being of Gert. He has actually just started when there's a yellow flag in Sector 1, that being Arabian Killarak. And
He's just letting
managed
drivers
to loop
through.
it.
Unless
Yeah,
he saw
possibly.
it.
I thought it looked like for a second he had a bit of a moment. Obviously being on cold tires, which is going to make the difference, like I said last week in the race. Obviously you start on, you're on cold tires when you leave the pits, which is really going to be undercut or overcut worthy. It's just a matter of who manages to nail it and, well, what tire they choose, really, because that'll depend on the warm-out. Yellow flag once again in Sector 1. I believe that is just Echo letting everyone by. Well, it's one of the Mercedes, at least.
I'm looking at Gert right now at the moment. I was able to see a Sector 1 time, but he does look like he's on a flyer. He hasn't had any mistakes. His car's trying not to leave him. It just looks like he's on a perfect flyer, but we'll see if the Sector times in Sector 2 prove me correct. Now he has a little bit of traffic in his way. That's going to cost him a tenth or so right there, but in order to negate that, he's going to get slipstream from the Aston Martin. Oh, he hits
That's going to be,
the
oh,
ring!
no!
That is a Stewart inquiry.
Who was that? Was that Rutski? No, that was the Arabian Killarak. So I'm not sure what's gone on there, but that has absolutely ruined Gert's qualifying. And the best he'll start right now is P5, but look at the amount of outlaps that people are on, and some people are currently on a lap. That, in which the first one, I believe, might be Redeemer? No, actually, no, he just finished his lap. No, never mind. What? I'm
No, he's
confused.
starting.
He's on a lap, by the looks of it. He's got a lot of ERS in hand, so we'll stay on board with the Alfa Romeo going through the first sector. Yellow flag in Sector 1. That is the Red Bull that's gone round. Ryan Alcon's retired in the pits. That's his qualifying done. Redeemer, is he up on his time? Barely. Barely up on his lap time. Gert's retired, so, and that is in the pits once again, so Gert will obviously not be able to go better than 5th. We'll stay on board, though, with the other Alfa Romeo of Redeemer going through the second sector. Oh, loses the car a little bit, but manages to save it. I think that's just the benefit of wheel, because it's really easy to save those on wheel, but nonetheless, going through the DRS zone now. What is he? How much time is he going to gain? Nearly 3/10 right now for the Alfa Romeo. Right now, that's not enough to challenge for pole. He needs to find a 1.3 seconds if he wants to challenge for pole. And right now, that's not looking to be the case, unless he just didn't use any battery on his previous lap. Who knows? Qualifying is now done, so these are the last few final flying laps that everyone is going to be able to set. Redeemer being one of the first, kind of in his own little world. In his own little world right now. He improves, though, and he goes up to P6. He finds 9/10. So, big improvement. And now he's alongside his teammate. The Echo, though. No, actually, no. Next is going to be Gary. Gary, can he challenge for pole position? Is it going to be enough to beat Rutski? No, it's not. Rutski still on pole. Gary just misses out. What about if Echo, though? Can he find enough improvement? No. Only P8 for the Mercedes. What about the Red Bull? I don't think the Red Bull improved, but FinFan improved. He goes up to 10th. Rutski goes even faster, but barely. And now it's a 129.3, I believe. That was Iceman and... Oh, wait, no. Yeah, that was Iceman. Sorry. He improves. He goes up to P4. Right now it's Ferrari 3-4. Nava unable to finish his lap time, so he will unfortunately start dead last. Now, last person across the line, well, I thought it was going to be Days Freak, but he has already invalidated. So with that, that is qualifying over. Rutski, in reality, he only needed that one lap, and he bags his first pole position.
I mean...
Less than a 10th, though.
Less than a 10th, yeah. The difference between the top 3 really has been very close. We may have a realistic situation here. But that being said, someone as an outcast like Iceman, Akon, Gert, or even Redeemer, they could be in the fight if the top 3 decide to step over each other like what we saw last night.
We'll just have to find out come the actual race. But right now, qualifying done. Rutski bagging his first pole position of the season. Gary lining up on the front row. He doesn't have a poor qualifying unlike last week. We'll see what he can do from second on the grid. Yordster in third, so he has started in the top 3 in the past 2 races. Iceman in 4th, so Ferrari having a pretty good day. And then it's Ryan Alcon in 5th, Gert in 6th, Redeemer in 7th, Butters in 8th, ahead of Echo. FinFan rounding out the top 10. And can I just quickly mention, by the way, the gap between 10th and 11th is nearly a second. So I'm not sure what's gone on there. And only 5 drivers were not able to set a lap time, that being Shredder, One Underdog, Stig, The Unknown, and Nava R. And be sure to watch out for One Underdog, by the way, because obviously he is the championship leader. He's going to want to hold on to that, but he has a tall order and a tall mountain to climb.
Yeah, it's going to be a tall, like what you said, a tall hill or mountain, whatever you want to call it. I say hill, but you say mountain, but whatever, we all know what it means. But anyway.
Potato, potato.
Yeah, but anyway, like what you said, it's going to be a tall order for One Underdog here to get up to the front. But because knowing his pace, I think he can do it. He's just going to have to keep his nose, or in Formula 1 terms, front wing clean. Make sure that he doesn't have any contact with anybody until he make his way towards the front. Because, like what we said last week, you can't win a race on the first lap, but you sure can lose it.
Yeah, I feel like some people in real life might need to take that into account, so, I'm not going to mention who, but we move. But, yeah, definitely the first lap is going to be crucial, and, well, just the rest of the laps is being consistent around this track is going to be basically the way to go, as if you make one mistake, that could potentially ruin your chances of something good, unless it's just a little mistake, but well, there's no such thing as a little mistake in Formula 1, but nonetheless, we'll see how this race is going to go, and more importantly, how the tire strat is going to be for everyone on the grid tonight.
Yeah, it is, but if we look at the tires right now,
wow,
Underdog,
a lot of mediums.
Everybody except for Underdog and Iceman are on mediums, and Iceman and Underdog on your screen has the hard tires on, which is interesting because Underdog's decided maybe he wants to have the grip advantage later on in the run, and we could see something like what Dayton did last night in the Realistic League. Everybody went to medium hard or hard medium. Dayton went with hard soft. Ultimately, it didn't work out for him at the end, really, but he still got P3 out of it and a podium, which could have been much worse. Which I mean by much worse is a P4.
Or if he crashed if he pushed too hard. You never know. There's always those factors, but nonetheless, yeah, he still managed to grab a podium. Obviously, he would have gotten second place if not for the fact that he had a time penalty, so he was definitely in the top 2, but his sauce, I believe, just simply died near the end. And, well, that cost him the chances of the win, because he was leading the race. But, you know, things change very, very quickly. But nonetheless, though, we're going to have to see what Iceman and One Underdog can do, as you say. And Iceman, right now, up in 4th here in qualifying, so he had a pretty good qualifying. It's just a matter of how quickly he can fire those tires up off the start compared to everyone around him. Same with One Underdog as well, obviously starting all the way down in 16th. I think the crucial thing here for One Underdog being on those hards is taking it easy on the first lap, because if he gets damage on that first lap, that could be his day pretty much done. Because you don't have 2 sets of mediums, you only have 1 set, same with the hards. So he's going to have to be careful in this first lap, or else his race could potentially be immediately ruined. We'll just have to find out in these 25 laps. Right now, everyone lining up on the grid, everyone weaving their weaving and putting heat into their tires. Rutski, like I said before, he is on pole position for the first time. Gary lines up on the front row and nearly hits the wall there. I saw that. Nonetheless, though, he'll line up in second. Then it's an all-Ferrari second row with Ryan Alcon rounding out the top 5, I believe. Nope, never mind, not the Lonesome Alpine. As Jortster disqualifies himself from the formation lap, and that's not what he wanted to start this, as we're waiting on Nava to line up on the grid, as he disqualifies himself in the process.
Oh, that's crazy.
And damn, bro. Fire red lights on for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go. Looks like a pretty good start there from the Alfa Romeo, that is. But the same goes for Gary. He's going to take the lead into turn one immediately from Rutski. Gert having a pretty good start. He is up to fourth, but Gary takes the lead into turn one from Rutski. Then Gert, Yortster, FinFan all the way up to fifth. So he's had a really good start as well. Yortster and Gert going at it. I think, oh, that's FinFan out, actually. FinFan's already retired. A bit of commentator's curse there, my bad. And I think that might already be a virtual.
I don't know what it is. It only shows the sector yellow flags. But no front wing from the Williams driver. I would be surprised if it's not a full course. But I didn't see anything as Iceman has disconnected. I'll try to get him back in here. But Underdog, he was a victim of circumstances right there. He made his way through the pack safely, and then FinFan and Williams had him crash. He had to check up and basically parked the car, and he lost everything that he gained. He actually lost more.
And that's the unknown off the track at the carousel section, and now he's falling all the way down to 18th. Both Williams, by the way, have wing damage, and that's absolutely ruined the race. Speaking of the race is now resumed, and Gary leading Rutski, and they're already 4.2 seconds ahead of the next guy. The Rutski all over the back right now of Gary. He's going to pull to the right-hand side of the Mercedes. They're going wheel to wheel now into turn 27. Who's going to take the lead by the time they exit the corner? It looks like it's going to be Gary. The Rutski trying to go for the switchback, and he is going to go for the switchback, going wheel to wheel once again. This time Rutski on the left-hand side of the Mercedes. They're blasting down the main straight. Gary with the fastest lap, but Rutski has that inside line, and he clears the Mercedes before they even make it to turn one. So Rutski takes back the lead of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Meanwhile, further down, Butters is in the pits.
Here comes Gary.
So he's had a bit of a moment.
Turn three, as Gary actually backs out of it. Rutski's
and that's Rutski. He's out of the race. Spun round, and clearly the tires were just not working with him, and he is already the second retirement out of this race, and that is that a virtual? I think that's a virtual safety car.
I think it's a full. Everybody.
I'm not seeing a safety car coming out of the pits. No, it's a virtual.
Bro, I hate this game. Why is it not showing me the safety car, the virtual?
Yeah, you're telling me. I don't get it either, but Rutski, not what he wanted, starting from pole, and now is the second retirement out of this in this race, and well, it's already the second lap. Raymond Killer gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. That's not what he wanted. Yellow flag in sector 2, but the race is resumed, so now it's Gary. Now just kind of in a world of his own, to put it simply. Already 4.4 ahead of Yortster, then 2.3 seconds ahead of Gert, in which he's pretty much leading the train of himself. Ryan Alcon and Redeemer, as meanwhile further back, I believe Nava's just made a move onto Coach, and indeed he has. Yellow flag in Sector 1 once again. I believe that might be for Arabian Killer. Meanwhile, Quick Tongue and Echo going at it. Quick Tongue possibly looking for a move. Not quite, though. He did get overtaken by Echo, so Echo is up into 7th. So he's had a pretty decent start, to put it simply. Yortster now with the fastest lap of this race. So he's going to try and chase down that Mercedes for the lead of this race. Quick Tongue is going to look for a move. No, he isn't. But meanwhile, the coach is potentially looking for a move on Nava for P9 on the inside. Nava just breaks that a little bit later. Might have been a bit of contact there.
That's Quick Tongue's around.
That's actually Quick Tongue around, yeah. Quick Tongue is around. And Arabian Killer into the pits, so he clearly has front wing damage. He's gone onto the set of mediums by the looks of it. But that is his race also ruined. Everyone around him on softs, by the way. So very interesting there. Meanwhile, Redeemer all over the back of Ryan Alcon here. You can see the gap between them, less than 2/10 there.
Oh, he's
but
going
he pulls a little bit back, but Ryan Alcon goes deep, and that is going to allow Redeemer to get ahead. And now the Alfa Romeo is up into 4th. Ryan Alcon down to 5th. He's going to try and get that place back, but looks of it, he's nearly pushing the Alfa Romeo there. But nothing doing. But one thing that's going to help him, though, the DRS. The drag reduction system is now available. Does Ryan Alcon have it? Not sure. Meanwhile, Echo manages to get past Shredder. So already quite a bit of action right now here in Jeddah tonight. And there's still plenty more laps to come. But right now, Echo now up into P6, I believe, if I look over at the position changes. He's gone up 3 positions. Nava, by the way, up 11. So we've had some pretty good starts up there, but we've also had some pretty bad starts, that being of Butters and Iceman. But yeah, still a crazy start to this race nonetheless.
Yes, but after George Stewart with that fastest lap, Gary has responded and set down the fastest lap of the race of his own. But also, maybe the Alfa Romeos are chasing down the Ferrari ahead of them. I'm seeing the Gert and Joyster gap, and it seems like it's starting to go down a little bit, but Ross seems to say that it's starting to go up again.
I think it's just Yort's just trying to just simply kick himself, I guess you could say, and just like kick himself into gear and try and catch that Mercedes once again. Gap between the 4.5. He actually lost a bit of time there. Gert gaining a bit of time on the Ferrari in response to that, but right now everyone's spread out. Sting now with the fastest lap of the race with the 133.5. The engine is cutting out right there for the Mercedes because, you know, great game. Arabian Killer with a 3-second time penalty, so that already is the first time penalty on this race, and we're already on lap 4. There could potentially be more to come for everyone else.
It could be, but there's no action really going on on the track as of right now at the moment. But the close battle is between Echo and Ron.
Oh, you say that.
It's a spinner. It's a Red Bull.
That is
Sting. Oh, Butter's in the wall. He has no front wing. As Unknown's retired as well in the S section.
That he's crashed. That's sector 1, and that's a full safety car. Full safety car has now been called out. And Gary immediately dives into the pits. Is he going to do what he did last week?
He may go for the hards and stay out the whole race. It's going to be what, 21 laps? But in reality, around 18, 19 laps, race laps in those hards because he won't have any tire wear during the safety car lap. So I think he can do it. It's just a tire wear maybe a little bit too much for the pace to handle. But I do think the tires will last that long. It's just a matter of how quick can he be towards the end of this race.
Let's not forget, Gary did this last weekend. He managed to grab second place after, I believe he was starting down outside the top 10, if I just have a little bit... No, actually, no, he started 7th. So, never mind that. But still managed to grab a podium out of it nonetheless. And Gary looking as if that is the way to go. So he's going to try and do it again. That is an Alpine off the track. That was Shredder. But he's managed to keep it going, and Gary kind of illegally overtook him, so Shredder is now back ahead. So Gary back down to 6th, Shredder back up into 5th, and now everyone is just going to line up behind the safety car. And right now the top 5 are all Ferrari powered cars, by the way. So that's interesting. Yeah, Jordster obviously in the Works Ferrari, Gert and Redeemer being in the Alfa Romeo, and Nava being in the Haas, and then Shredder being in the Alpine, currently in 5th. One underdog, by the way, he's back up into the points. He's now up into P7, but obviously he did not stop in this race due to the fact that he is on the hard compound of tires, so he's going to have to go long no matter what. So I believe if we look over at the pit stops, right now those that have pitted are Gary, Echo, Ryan Ocon, Quick Tongue, Butters, Arabian Killarak, and I believe Stig as well. They all pitted behind this safety car, and now most of them are on a fresh set of hards. Stig on 1 lap old mediums, though they can still do quite a ways, but we'll just have to see. Just waiting on a few drivers to line up behind the safety car. But this is going to be an interesting restart now, because people have already pitted, but how's the tire wear going to be for them? And more importantly, what are the medium runners going to do in the top 5? Are they going to try and work together to pull away from those on the hards? Or what's their game plan?
I seriously doubt they're going to work with each other. I really do. I think it's going to be a 5-on themselves. As actually Quick Tongue is in the pits once again, which may delay the safety car coming in by a lap or so.
I think it might get delayed out of the way, because Days Freak right now is currently in Sector 3. And while the safety car is going kind of slow. Oh, that's why. Front wing damage, apparently, for the AlphaTauri. So that is why he went into the pits. He's on a set of mediums now, and those mediums are kind of worn. I don't think he wants to stay on those any longer.
Yeah. I doubt that would be the case for him. He may have to even pit again.
Oh, and he nearly hits the wall on the exit of the pit lane, and nearly loses the car as well on the curb, but he still manages to keep it going. Right now, we've already lost 4 drivers from this race, that being DeCoach, the Unknown, Ritsky, and FinFan. Obviously, FinFan retiring in the first couple of corners. Ritsky having that moment at the exit of turn 3. The unknown, I believe, had a crash somewhere around... I think it was... I already forgot. Wow. Okay. It was in Sector 2, I believe. It was in Sector 2 where he crashed into Coach. Also having a similar incident, if I'm not mistaken. It's hard to remember. But nonetheless, already lost 4 drivers out of the 19 that we have here tonight. Still got 15 drivers, so there's still plenty of opportunities for anyone outside the top 10 to grab quite a few, but also an easier chance for points if you think about it. We'll just have to find out after the safety car comes in, in which I'm not sure. It might stay out for at least one more lap by the looks of it.
It's looking like it. If it would be called, it'd be called in right now, unless it's very late. But yeah, it's not coming in this lap.
Lovely. You're telling me I have to sit here longer?
I mean, it helps out Gary in the situation because one less lap to worry about his tire wear.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Same goes for Echo, Ryan Alcon, Butters, and Arabian Killerak. So, yeah, it definitely helps them, and it definitely helped Iceman, by the way, who just rejoined the session. So it definitely helped him out because he's still inside the top 10, obviously on a set of softs. So he's gonna have to pit again no matter what. Ah, yes, lovely porpoising.
Yes, this game.
Here, let's have a look. Is he porpoising? Oh yeah, he is. You can see the suspension arms bouncing up and down. Yep, he is definitely porpoising as the Ferrari.
That Ferrari, very low ride height. I'm surprised he hasn't spun yet.
Well, I believe he had contact on the first couple of laps. That's why he pitted onto the set of softs. So maybe he spun. We don't know.
Who knows?
There's a lot of chaos. I mean, then again, it is Jeddah. We are obviously going to expect quite a bit of chaos. So, you know, it is what it is, to put it simply. And we could definitely expect some more chaos later on in this race, obviously, after this safety car. It's just a matter of keeping it clean, though. Like I said, if you keep it clean, you can still get away with something, which is exactly what the top 5 have done. Same with Gary. I mean, Gary was kind of running his own race before the safety car, and that's why he's currently in 6th, the highest of the hard runners, as he's getting close onto the back of Shredder. But I would assume now that the safety car is going to be in this lap, there's a bit of a breakaway between Iceman and Butters. So Butters seems to be catching up back again. So, never mind that. Though Iceman hanging a little bit further back, though, from Ryan Alcon right now. And safety car, is there going to be an announcement saying that you are in this lap? Hello?
Perfect timing. It's in this lap.
There we go. I was wondering what it was. So, yep, safety car in this lap, so we will resume on lap 8 of this race, and it's Yordster's decision as to when they will start racing once again. Once they cross the start-finish straight, that's when racing has officially resumed, as I should probably get a good angle instead of having the leaderboard there. And there is the entire pack. Is Yordster going to go now? It looks like he's going to possibly try and leave it late here.
He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone now, and has that caught out, Gert? It looks like it has, so...
In the back, I believe that's Arabian. Got on the throttle too early and had a snap of oversteer in the rear, and he couldn't catch it in time.
Yeah, that is Arabian Killerak, and that has absolutely ruined his race now, but Yordster leads from Gert, from Redeemer. Yeah, a bit of moments here and there. Gary managed to get back past Nava, so Nava not having the pace on this restart. One underdog now up into 6th. He's managed to get past the Haas as well, so those two having a pretty good start in this race. So far, everyone somewhat keeping it clean. Gert managing to stay on the back of Gert managing to stay onto the back of Yordster, still within that 1 second. Redeemer falling a little bit back. Meanwhile, here's Gary trying to go around the outside. Shredder is going to make the move work. No, Shredder just has that inside line, and Shredder will be able to hold on. No, Gary possibly going for a switchback here, and it looks like he is. He's going wheel to wheel now with the Alpine, but Shredder having that inside line is just able to stay ahead once again. Gary just trying to make these moves early. Same with one underdog, as he's actually under pressure there from the Haas, and it looks like the Haas has managed to get ahead, and yes, he has his yellow flag for the back. That's quick tongue round, and well, he's managed to keep it going for now, but Nava under pressure from one underdog once again. Gary managed to get past Shredder, so now Gary's up into 4th place. Nava goes wide, and that could possibly give one underdog a little bit of encouragement, and that's Iceman out. He's out of this race, and that's another safety car. Oh, man. Safety cars save. Well, I know the phrase, safety cars breed safety cars, and, well, that's exactly what's done. Butters with no front wing, by the way.
Same with Redeemer. Redeemer has completely killed his race right here.
Or has he? We've seen double stacks like this before actually kind of work out, though they are quite close, to be fair. But yeah, that's Gert, Redeemer, Nava, and Butters all into the pits. Alfa Romeo pitting. Is Gert gonna get ahead of Nava? Yeah, I don't think it mattered, actually.
Redeemer has a front wing change, actually. That's why he came in the pits.
So he has to get that front wing changed, but he's still going to come out in P11. So in reality, he's only lost one position after all that. So honestly, not terrible. So he's now in the hard compounded tire. Same with Nava, same with Gert. Butters going on to a set of softs now. And with a front wing change, so he's going to have to try and possibly hope for another safety car. I want Butters to do well, but I also don't want more safety cars. So, that's a bit of a 50-50 moment. Quick-Tongue also went into the pits, and he's now onto a set of hards, one lap old hards, and, well, those will still be able... English. Those are still in good condition nonetheless. Arabian Killer 5 lap old mediums, as he actually gets another 3-second time penalty. So far, the only man to have a time penalty. But, this is now a tricky situation for Yortster, Shredder, and Stig. Because they are on those mediums. They are not going to make it to the end, and they still haven't stopped in this race. They're going to have to go on these set of hards. If I were them, honestly, I would do it now. I would go into the pits now, get it over and done with, and still be within that pack.
Yeah, definitely. But Butters only driver on the softs. I wonder if he just decided to take that risk of I'm gonna do whatever nobody else does, and see if he can climb his way through the field. But like what we saw yesterday with Dayton, like what I said earlier, those softs die after 4 laps. So he's gonna have to manage these tires if he wants to make it go to the end.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. Yortster deciding to not go into the pits. Neither does Shredder. I don't think Stig does either, so none of them are going into the pits.
Butters is in, actually. Are they
potentially? Yeah, I think Butters is just was just simply going on those softs because of the safety car, but he is going to go into the pits. And is that a set of hards there? I believe. Yes, it is. So he's on a set of hards now. Only 4 laps on those hards, so not terrible, to be fair. He could probably try and go to the end. I think he can make it. Maybe a bit of a stretch, but... yeah, the McLaren now on a set of hards, so everyone on the hards except for Yortster, Shredder, Stig, and Arabian Killer all being on those mediums. So the mediums are really the kind of the odd ones out in this race.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Lovely. It's not the first time, to be fair. But
yeah.
One thing I want to quickly mention, though, is that Mercedes are looking pretty good right now. Obviously, Gary, he's had a pretty comfortable race, to put it simply. Obviously, he's had a couple moments. He's had to make a few overtakes. Right now, he's on the back of the race leader, and the race leader has yet to pit. So, effectively, Gary is leading this race. And that's probably exactly what he wanted. And One Underdog, he's still in the mix as well. And, well, there's still plenty of laps to go, and he has to pit. Let's not forget, because he started on those hards. But Echo technically is a net P2. So, as long as Echo keeps that position, Mercedes are currently provisionally first and second in this race. They is going to be under pressure from the likes of Ryan Ocon, Dace Freak, and as well as Gert, Nava, Redeemer, Quick-Tongue, all those drivers. So, Echo kind of needs to just keep his head down, keep it calm, if he wants to hold these great positions for Mercedes, as the safety car is in this lap. So once again, it is Yordster's discretion as to when they will go. He's going to try and catch out Gary here, though Gary, obviously being the Season 7 Tier 3 champion and contending for the title last season, he is definitely going to want to stay onto the back of that Ferrari as close as he possibly can, so he can have a good shot of the win here tonight. And you can see it, he's all over the back of that Ferrari. When is the Ferrari going to go is the question, and he's gone now. And has he been caught out? Has Gary? A little bit. The race is now resumed. Wait, there we go. And so far, everyone's kind of keeping it easy.
You mentioned Echo
Oh, yeah.
trying to get racy is he went too deep in the turn one. He had to take to a little escape road there. He's going to lose a position because of it. It looked like he was wheel-to-wheel with Underdog. He's going to stay alongside Ryan Ocon heading into turn 3, I believe. It may be turn 4. I'm not really sure. But after
he looks to be struggling a little bit here. Echo not being able to fire up those hards right now. Ryan Ocon obviously ahead, and one Underdog managing to stay ahead. The Ryan Ocon is all over the back of the AlphaTauri right now. Is he going to possibly try and look for a move? Not quite. He's going to have to stay behind. Meanwhile, further back, Gert is going for a move on Dace Freak, though he's not able to do anything with it. He's just going to have to stay behind for the time being. So Gert just kind of keeping it easy for the time being, but he wants to make those moves if he wants to get onto the podium in this race. He goes a little bit deep, and that's going to give Nava a little bit of a jump, I guess you could say, and he's going wheel to wheel now with the Alfa Romeo, and is he going to be able to get ahead? They're still going wheel to wheel, actually, through this section. I think Nava with the inside is going to get ahead, and he has.
Trying to keep it on the track for the Alpine without spinning out, and he does. But with that being said, Echo and Stig are all over
look at
them.
this!
They're a pack
Look at
race.
this! One Underdog.
They're going
One
pack
Underdog.
race in
Echo.
Atlanta.
Pretty much. Echo trying to look for a move on Underdog. One Underdog looking for a move on Ryan Ocon here. There's a bit of contact there between Echo and one Underdog, but it looks like there is no damage for either one of the drivers. Echo gets ahead of Ryan Ocon. He's now going to look onto the back of the AlphaTauri, and he's going to tug into the slipstream. He's going to dummy the AlphaTauri, go on the inside, but breaks that a little bit later. Stig a little bit of contact with Echo. Ryan Ocon now looking for a move on Echo. Once again, these guys are just not giving up these positions right now. Echo managing to stay ahead into this tricky Sector 1. Amazing racing between these drivers. A little bit of contact, but looks like there is no damage. So once again, these drivers are just giving us some exhilarating battles as Stig is still looking for a move on Ryan Ocon here. Those mediums are really working right now for the Red Bull. He's trying to go wheel to wheel with the Alpine once again. And can he possibly look for a move? Not quite. Ryan Ocon manages to stay ahead. And Stig will stay behind. No, Ryan Ocon goes deep. He goes deep. And now the Red Bull gets ahead. Holy moly.
The whole field
is
amazing. Here. The whole field.
Pretty much the entire field, all in this one section, and that's Echo. It looks like he actually might have hit the wall there. Is that damage for the Mercedes? I'm not sure. Doesn't look to be the case, so he's managed to get away with it, but now Ryan Ocon and Stig get ahead of him in this race as Nava's looking for a move on Dace Freak. Dace Freak goes wide, and Nava trying to go around the outside. That's not a receive move. He hits the wall, though. Is that going to be damage? It doesn't look to be the case. So the Haas is now up into 8th. Stig now going for a move on Underdog, and he managed to get ahead. Redeemer now going for a move on Dace Freak. Everyone is just going absolutely nuts as Yorkshire sets the fastest lap now with a 1:33.5. Redeemer, once again, looking for another move. He's going to go onto the inside of Nava here, on the inside into turn 1. Is he going to make the move? Yes, he does. Redeemer now up into 8th. He's going to try and chase down Echo.
Never had a bit of oversteer on the exit. Had to hit Dace Freak while trying to correct the car, and that's going to absolutely kill Dace Freak's momentum trying to catch up, and I believe he has wing damage.
It's hard to tell. It doesn't look like it, but you never know with this game. Meanwhile, that's Stig! That's Stig! What has happened to the Red Bull? He's gone round, as now he gets a 3-second time penalty. What is going on? Yeah, Gert also around as well, so Gert having a horrible safety car restart. And now it looks like everything is settled now. Luckily, I can give my voice a little bit of a breather here, but still, what action we're already getting here in Jeddah as right now the top 2 have just absolutely pulled from everyone. Though Gary has that DRS on the Ferrari, so we're going to go over to the battle for the lead here. Gary with the DRS, with the slipstream. Is it going to be enough to look for a move into turn 27? Not quite, it's just a little bit too far back. So Yorkster still have those pace on those mediums, by the way. So those mediums have held up, and that's actually Stig round.
Ryan
he has spun round at turn 23.
Underdog on the exit, the entry of the final corner. He's able to get it done with the DRS assistance as well, by the way, as Underdog.
As Underdog's in the pits. Yeah, he's into the pits, so that could potentially be damage actually, because that's a bit early right now for the hard compounded tires. Is that damage? No, it's not. It's not damage. So very interesting call there from the AlphaTauri. But that's pretty much ruined his race. But that's put Ryan Ocon up into 4th, Echo to 5th, Redeemer up to 6th. He's actually looking really racy right now on the back of Echo in this race. The battle for P5 starting to heat up a little bit. The Alfa Romeo just trying to stay within that 1 second, though Echo is within that 1 second of Ryan Ocon right now. So there's a little bit of a DRS train possibly starting to form in this race now.
Definitely, but Redeemer all over the rear gearbox of Echo. But meanwhile, during all of this,
Echo's low on ERS.
Yes, he is also low on ERS. Thank you for mentioning that. But still, with the assistance of the ERS, Echo is starting to catch Ryan Ocon. So Redeemer is actually pushing Echo to his absolute minimum right now.
Maximum.
His maximum limit.
Is that the word you... Yeah, there you go. As he actually goes a little bit deep there, actually through turn 23, and that's going to give Redeemer a little bit of encouragement here. And look at him, he's basically pushing that Alpine. They're bump drafting here. As Redeemer now pulls to the left-hand side, but he isn't able to make the move yet on Echo. Though Echo is closing in on the back of Ryan Ocon with that DRS. The two drivers behind Ryan Ocon do have DRS right now. Is Echo going to potentially look for a move on Redeemer? That looks like Redeemer trying to look for a move. That's a bit of contact there, I think.
Echo
still makes
early for the corner. I think Redeemer hit him. That may be front wing damage. Bit of a questionable.
I'm not sure.
A bit of a questionable call from Echo there, but in the rule book it says his driver behind is always at responsibility for contact like that. So, but we move on.
Redeemer was hanging pretty close onto the back of that Mercedes, basically pushing him through that straight, and that could potentially cost him. We'll have to see. He's not really losing any time, so he's still in this. He's still very much in this in this battle right now. Though Echo dropping a little bit further back on Ryan Ocon. He's lost that 1 second advantage that he had, and I think that was Shredder going deep there, and I believe it is. Yes, it is. And he's lost a little bit of time, and that's going to allow Ryan Ocon to be on the back of his teammate. The two Alpines currently 3rd and 4th. Is it going to switch by the time? It looks like Ryan Ocon is going to lose. Oh, there's contact! The number 1 rule broken. The two Alpines have collided. And Shredder down to 6th. Ryan Ocon down to 7th. Maybe even further as here comes Quick Tongue and Butters. But the two Alpines just not... Okay, words. Thank you. The two Alpines just clearly not... Okay, no, never mind. Screw it. Forget it. Anyway.
I see that incident of Ryan Ocon being a little bit too impatient there. Yeah, I get you have the overspeed, but you need to wait one more straight. You would have had him right there. And just gotten way too
Shredder
impatient.
went into the pits.
For wing damage, if I had to guess. That was pretty big contact. Quick Tongue is starting to drift the car through the chicane, but anyway, Ryan Ocon just had to go through 2 more corners, and he would have been ahead of his teammate. I don't get to understand his call to go a dive bomb in a one-man corner.
Yeah, it was pretty bold there from the Alpine, and it has not worked out. Staying now with a fast lap of the 133.3. As Quick Tongue under pressure now from Ryan Ocon. I thought there was a little bit of damage from Shredder, but it doesn't look to be the case. Ocon on the inside. And he manages to get the move, though. Quick Tongue looking for the switch back there on the Alpine. It looks like he has managed to get the switch back there. And he has managed to get back past ahead of the Alpine and up into 7th place. Ryan Ocon down to 8th after that collision. By the way, battle for the lead. Once again, about to heat up as Gary's all over the back of Yardster. There's a yellow flag in Sector 1. That's going to be for Stig. Gary closing in on the back of Yardster, but is not going to make a move right now. And, well, he's going to use that DRS to his advantage. And he's going to just stay behind so Yardster doesn't get the DRS. Now he's going to look for the move, I believe. He's got the DRS once again into turn 1. Is he going to pull to the left-hand side? No, he doesn't. He does not. So he's not risking it right now.
Apparently my controller was dead, even though it never gave me a warning. And my controller light is still on. Loving Xbox at the moment, but that is a yellow flag. That is the Red Bull Stig. He looked like he could have had a great performance, but he's gone from good result to a worst case scenario here.
What's kind of weird about that, though, is that Stig was nowhere near the yellow flag. The yellow flag was ahead of him, so, you know. Great, just great game. Moving
Great
on
game.
from that. I think I know what Gary is trying to do here. Because obviously, if you look at the gap between him and third place, that being Redeemer, Redeemer's just under 9 seconds behind Gary.
Ryan Alcon. Now for Mayo of Burton up into Ryan Alcon. Seems like the frustration is getting into Ryan Alcon right now. I think if someone's engineering in mind, I should be to tell him to calm it down. Blocked Gert in the middle of the straightaway. That way he couldn't pass him, and there was almost a big crash there.
Luckily, that isn't the case, and Gert manages to get past Ryan
Battle
Alcon,
for the
and Gert
lead.
is up in this. Yeah, battle for the lead, and Gary has managed to get past Yortzer on the straight, though Yortzer still managing to try and fight it back. Is he going to try and fight it back? No, he doesn't. He's going to stay behind for that DRS Arabian Killer Act, by the way, into the pits, and he's probably going to get lapped on this lap. But Gary now into the lead of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. The Yortster has that DRS once again. Is he going to look for a move on the Mercedes? No, he doesn't. He's just a little bit too far back. So Gary now in the lead of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and well, consider the fact that Yortster still has to pit, this could potentially look like Gary's race to win, or possibly to lose. But all he needs to do now is just not make a mistake, and he practically has this. By the way, I just want to quickly mention, Redeemer's just kind of been silent now after all that battling, and he's currently provisionally second right now. Echo provisionally third, so still a double Mercedes podium. So it's still looking good for them, but we'll have to see, as Nava is currently in P5. He's got a 3-second time delay. Butters, by the way, I don't know where Butters has come from, but he's in P6.
I mean, I said it in qualifying. Look out for him. He could be an underdog for this race. P6 would be a good result for him. He has a chance for P5. Actually, he has a chance for P4 because Yortzer still has to come in to pit to satisfy the tire roll.
Yeah, he does. So Butters could still be in for a decent haul of points despite everything that's gone on in the first couple of laps. So fair play to Butters. He's managed to make this work somehow, and now he's in a great position as right now. Gary, by the way, is just absolutely pulled from Yortzer. Those mediums are now going off for the Ferrari, and he is 1.4 off of the Mercedes, and he could potentially be looking to go into the pits sooner or later. Well, he goes in now. So the Ferrari now dives into the pits. He gets a 5-second time for what? For speeding in the pit lane, but he didn't in the pits yet. Okay.
Yo,
nonetheless, he gets a time penalty. Yeah, great game. And he goes on to a set up on a tire there for the Ferrari. So he's definitely going to be the fastest man out on track, but those softs will die out quickly. Where does he come out, though, in relation to everyone around him? One underdog now with the fastest lap of the 133.3. It looks like Yortzer is going to come out behind the Alfa Romeo Gert, and he has. So P7 right now for the Ferrari. But he is going to be very, very quick in the near the beginning of those softs. And we'll just have to see if he could possibly climb back up to a podium position. Right now, he has to gain around 10 seconds if he even wants to grab third right now. That's a bit of a tall order, but we'll just have to wait and see what the Ferrari can do now.
Yeah, definitely, but you still have to warm up the sauce, but I believe they'd be warmed up around now. That's a yellow flag. I'm not sure who that is. I think that's
it's Arabian Killer Act.
Yeah. It's been an unfortunate day for him as now he's a lap down. But Yortzer is still... I think he's getting close to it because he's holding stationary with Gert, but I don't think Gert's going to let him go that easily. I think this is going to be we're going to have to pay attention to.
I mean, this is for position, so I mean, obviously Gert is going to try and give it everything he can to stay close to that not only to the McLaren, but also to keep this position right now. Yortzer does have the DRS on the Alfa Romeo. It doesn't look like he's close enough to make a move into turn 27. The answer to that is no. He's going to have a really good exit here out of turn 27. Look at how much time he gained there out of the final corner. And he's going to easily be clear of the Alfa Romeo by the looks of it. Gert not having the DRS. Yortzer does have the DRS, and he's going to clear the Alfa Romeo. Not quite. He's still having to go around the outside. The Gert trying to fight it, but the superior grip of the softs. Yortzer is now up into 6th place. Is now going to try and chase after Butters for 5th.
Yeah, Butters here. I don't think Butters will be able to fight him off. 14-lap-old Haas versus 1-lap-old Sauce. It's just going to be a very, very tall order. Fernando Alonso at Monaco this year type stuff if he's going to have to beat him here.
I mean, you can just see that the amount of grip that Yorkster has. We'll go through this carousel section and just look at that. Gains so much on entry, on an exit. He's almost pushing the McLaren through those corners. That's how close he is and how much grip he has through these corners, and he's gonna be clear of the McLaren right here, and he's gonna go to the right hand side with DRS now, and yep, he is way ahead of the McLaren before they even get to the very small braking zone, and he sets a purple sector 2 for good measure. This is gonna be an easy fastest lap for the Ferrari.
Yeah, definitely, but smart move by Butters there not to fight him at all. He's going to get a good result either way, a P5 or a P4, but he also gets DRS for this and next straight as well. So very smart play by the McLaren and Butters here.
He's just kind of playing it calm, playing it cool, and that's working out for him. The yellow flag in Sector 1, I believe that is for Stig, as he has had a moment. Still managed to keep it going, though. Yorkster with the fastest lap now with a 132.5. I don't think anybody's going to beat that right now. But right now, the top three still staying stationary right now. Gary ahead of Redeemer, ahead of Echo. Redeemer gained a little bit, by the way, in the past couple of laps. Gap between them now 7.4 now. So Redeemer starting to close into that Mercedes. The Mercedes, though, well, like I said before, just keeping it consistent and keeping it calm, and it's just working out for him. But we'll see if the Alfa Romeo could potentially try and get to that Mercedes. It's going to be a bit of a tall order, though. Though, if you remember last week, our one underdog managed to gain so much time on Gary. Interestingly, is the same driver that's leading the race. But it's not impossible, but it's still difficult nonetheless. We'll just have to see if he can do it. Meanwhile, the only closest battle right now is between Gert and Butters for P6 in this race. As Echo grabs a 3-second time penalty, and that's going to hurt his chances. He's still in third place, though, because Nava does have a time penalty as well. So he's still kind of there, but that is going to hurt his chances a little bit. Gert having that DRS on the McLaren. Is he going to potentially look for a move into the final corner? No, he doesn't. Stays behind for now. Butters making sure that that Alfa Romeo is behind him. Doesn't look like, though, it's going to stay much longer. Gert got a really good exit there at a turn 27, and it looks like it could potentially be an easy move for the Alfa Romeo. He is gaining with the DRS, with the slipstream, but no. It's just a bit too far back. Meanwhile, further back, Ryan Alcon and one Underdog going at it. Underdog unable to make a move on the Alpine, and he's just having to stay behind. Currently sitting P9 is the AlphaTauri. Both AlphaTauris, by the way, double points for them, P9 and P10 respectively, though Underdog is going to try and make it P8, potentially even P7 if he can get close to the back of Gert in this race.
Definitely, I think I'm trying to see the gap, but Ryan Alcon is 2.5 seconds behind, and I think at the current pace, he could bring Underdog with him as Raven Keller as the worst. Oh, Butters, the snap of oversteer, I was saying that.
Oh.
The snap of oversteer on Butters while they were with Gert. Gert was lucky for Butters to catch that in time because they were very close to contact there.
Luckily, no contact for either one of the drivers, and now Butters down to P7, but still technically P6 because Gert with that time penalty. Yorkster, by the way, he is all over the back of Nava here on this straight, and he's got the DRS. He's closing in on the Haas, and this is going to be, once again, another easy move for the Ferrari, and indeed it is. He moves up now into 4th place. So, a decent recovery there from the Ferrari, and he is now back up into the top 4. He started 3rd in this race, if I'm not mistaken, and he is still in the top 5 in this race. So, the Ferrari, despite the strategy not going well with him, he's still pretty much there. Meanwhile, further back, Underdog and Ryan Alcon going at it. Underdog gets ahead of the Alpine. I'm pretty sure that was an easy move there for the AlphaTauri. Underdog up into 8th. Ryan Alcon, though, is he going to look for a move? No, he doesn't. Just that is just too far back. You know, have to stay behind.
Yeah, closest battle on track, like you said, Ryan Alcon and one Underdog. As one Underdog is very close to the DRS. Gary's around!
That's Gary! That's Gary! Spun round! He's just completely lost it. And out of absolutely nowhere, this race has completely changed. The gap between Redeemer and Gary was closing in, but I think those tires may be starting to go off now. Those tires on the Mercedes are going off now. He's down to 3rd. Echo's up to second. Redeemer, I can't believe I'm saying this. Redeemer is leading this race.
Remember when we had a
What?
spin count for him? Good times, good times.
That was 2 seasons ago, and well, now he's here. He's in Tier 3, and if he can just keep it cool when his last 2 laps, he's gonna win the race.
While we're talking about this, one underdog and Ryan Ocon are going at it. As Ryan Ocon is at 0 battery compared to one underdog's 23, but going in the final corner, Ryan underdog, yes. One underdog goes very deep, which allows Ryan Ocon to get the crossover, but with the overspeed of a little bit of overspeed with the DRS, he's going to easily pass underdog here.
Yep, and that is an easy move for the Alpine. He moves himself up into 8th place, and underdog back down into 9th. I guess you could say it's a little bit of a battle between the 2 Alpines and the AlphaTauris. And as Shredder is closing in onto the back, it's meanwhile the battle for second. Gary manages to get ahead of Echo. I think Echo might have let
him through.
Gary by, or
I
don't know.
He just let him through.
Roscoe saying I shouldn't put any curses on Redeemer. Well,
he's immune
it's on him
to curses, so.
As Arabian Killer has retired in the pits, and yeah, his race has just gone from bad to worse. And now he has become the 6th retirement in this race. We have lost 6 drivers in this race, by the way. And we are on the penultimate lap of this race. And, well, things can still change, though. Things can still definitely change, as Gert is on the back of Nava right now. So that gap is closed in a little bit, as the Alfa Romeo is going to try and look for a move on the Haas here. I believe this will be for position. Yep, they're tied on time penalties. So Gert, it has the DRS, and he looks like he's going to easily be ahead of that Haas. And yep, Gert now up into 5th. Nava down to 6th, as meanwhile, one underdog easily gets past Ryan Ocon for P8 once again. Ryan Ocon, though, is going to try and fight it back.
Here comes Nava.
Yeah, he's going for the move once again, and like the Alfa Romeo did, the Haas breezes past the Alfa Romeo. Oh, that's a bit close! That's a bit of contact there! Gert trying to fight it back, the Nava just kind of keeping his place, and Gert unfortunately losing out a little bit there, and that pretty much almost seals Nava into 2nd place. It says a yellow flag. Sting's retired. He has crashed. Got a little bit of a look there. Yeah, there he is. And Echo gets another 3-second. Echo gets another 3-second. That's going to promote Jordster onto the podium, by the way. Jordster is now in a podium place right now. So he's managed to still get a podium out of everything that's happened here. So fair play to the Ferrari. The Mercedes are still going to get great points here, but by the way, it was 2nd and 4th by the looks of it. So still some decent points there from the Mercedes, but we're going to go to the leader of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And I'm just amazed right now. I'm just simply amazed. Out of all the chaos that has happened, nobody really saw Alfa Romeo kind of in the top spot. But they were definitely hanging around. But Redeemer managed to keep his calm, keep his consistency. And Gary, with his spin, Redeemer is going to come across the line. He wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Gary, once again, with another 2nd place. But with that, he will take the Drivers' Championship lead with 2 2nd places in a row. Jordster will manage to grab a podium. A great comeback drive from the Ferrari. Echo will manage to grab 4th. Butters grabs a top 5. So he still managed to grab 5th. Gert grabs 6th, Nava 7th, one underdog 8th, Ryan Ocon 9th, Quick Tongue rounding out the top 10, just barely beating Shredder. Less than 10 separates those two, but Quick Tongue manages to hold on for the final points paying position. Shredder 11th, and Days Freak being the last finisher of this race, as we lost 7 drivers from this race, 12 still remain. What a Saudi Arabian Grand Prix that was, and holy moly, that was a heavy crash for the Williams.
Yes. Very dramatic race, but what I said, you gotta keep your head calm. Just navigate through lap 1, really, and after that, just keep your head calm, get in the rhythm. That's exactly what Redeemer did, and look where he's at now.
Yep, he has managed to keep his calm, and, well, he got 10th last week Well, he's promoted up 9 positions because of that, and now he has taken the win here in Tier 3 in Jeddah. A great drive there from the Alfa Romeo. What could have been from the Mercedes of Gary, just that one mistake, it's absolutely cost him. He still manages to grab second place, though. Yordster gets redemption from last week after starting from pole, and he will grab his first podium of the season. But wow, what a Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Definitely 100% I agree with you.
I'm asking Redeemer where the hell he came from, because he just showed up out of nowhere, to put it simply. As I would assume you'll get the drivers in for their interviews, but Redeemer will take the win here in Jeddah tonight ahead of Gary Yordster rounding off the podium. Echo in fourth ahead of Butters, then Gert, Nava, Underdog, Alcon, Quick Tongue rounding out the top 10. Shredder, Days Freak unfortunately missing out, and we lost Stig, Arabian Killarak, Iceman, the coach, the unknown, Rutski, and Finfan from the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And just what a Saudi Arabian Grand Prix it was. And I believe, has everyone already joined? I think we're just waiting on Redeemer, but I think we can just start right away as we wait on Redeemer. So Zach, why don't you take us away for Yardster for P3?
My original strategy was medium to hard, and I kind of regretted not going in, so I was, you know, already into the new plan of committed to softs, so I just tried to manage my tires the best I could, and once I seen Gary approaching me, I didn't want to fight that a whole lot. And props to him, I mean, he managed those hards for a very long time, so, you know, great race.
It definitely was a good race. Oh, sorry. My bad. Go ahead, Zach.
Well, I'm a reserve, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just stealing points from people, but yeah, I'll be at Australia next week. That's a great track. You know, you can lose there pretty easy there coming on Sector 3. So I think it should be pretty interesting with the changes, and it definitely made for more fast-paced action in Sector 2. So yeah, especially with this grid, it's such a, you know, close, competitive, very clean racing grid. I really enjoy this, so hopefully everybody watching does too.
No, I do not. Just congratulations on your third place.
Thank you, and thanks for commentating. Appreciate it, guys.
My pleasure. Whoa! I don't think we've been racing that long.
Hello there. Yeah, like I say, exactly how it was. Just like say, keep it consistent and try again from what I did last week. The tyres were a lot better. I managed to keep them to the end, but unfortunately, I just got 2 laps of daisy and comfortable and lost it on the the hairpin on the third to last lap. Managed to get it together without losing too much, but another P2. I'm still happy with that. So yeah, overall good race. Yeah, it's 100%. I mean, nothing's in the bag on race two. I mean, props to my teammate Echo. Is it P4 he came? So GG's. But same again to the other top two, Dima and Jord for their efforts. Like I say, it was a great race all in all. Nice clean race. So yeah, I'm happy with the P2. On to next week. And like I say, I'm a fan of Australia, especially the new layout. So see how that goes.
No, I do not. Just congratulations on your second place, your second place. Yeah, all the twos. But yeah, and nonetheless, though, congratulations once again. That win is just that little bit too far away. Get it eventually. I know for sure. But speaking of wins, we shall now move on to the winner of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and I can't believe I'm saying this, and I'm pretty sure he can't believe it either. Redeemer! So, I remember quite a while ago, it was back in Season 7, where I commentated your first win around Japan. Well, 2 seasons later, you're back on the top step once again in what was a pretty crazy Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. You were just able to keep it calm, and as you said, you had pace out of nowhere. And, well, you managed to take the win here in Jeddah. How do you feel?
To say I'm sweating is the least of it. I mean, I got into second. I don't know if you caught it, but the Alpines and I think it was Echo I think the Alpines got contact, and then Echo slowed up because ghosting, and then I said, I have no choice, I gotta go through the middle of this Alpine, and he ghosted, luckily, and then I just coasted from P2, and I was trying to catch Gary. I got a snap of oversteer on lap 19 and got wing damage, so I was like, alright, well, I gotta nurse a broken car. And I saw Gary spin on lap 23, I think it was, and my heart just it sunk. Like, I don't like winning like that. I like winning on circuit, battling person. But yeah, no, just like you said, pace out of nowheres. Alpha team, I think we're gonna be strong this year. Just gotta keep the consistency and stay on circuit and move on to week after week, and gonna have a couple decent battles this season, I think, for constructors and for the driver's title.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see you coming through the rest of the race. But nonetheless, though, after this race, it's definitely a great day for Alfa Romeo. Next week, though, we go over to the Australian Grand Prix. We've taken 2 seasons away from it, but we're going to show up there once again with a new track layout, by the way. So, bit of a different look. But how do you expect that race to go?
I mean, anything can happen, week in, week out. Definitely gotta throw some laps in. I played with a different setup tonight versus what I was normally running, and I just tweaked it. It felt a little bit more stable than it was beforehand, so I was like, I'm just gonna run this one. Ultimately, my teammate and I had the same setup. He just did a little bit more tweaks than the setup than I did. But yeah, no, we're just gonna see, what the setup brings, and try to keep the consistency.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the key, and that's exactly what you did here tonight. Once again, congratulations on your win here in Saudi Arabia. Zach, do you have any questions for Redeemer?
I mean,
okay, let's not get too ambitious.
To be honest, like you said, Miniko, Season 7 at Japan was definitely, I think, one of the harder races that I've ever done. You know, obviously holding Johan back. And then, coincidentally, that was in an alpha, and 2 seasons later, I win again in an alpha. So we'll have to see what happens. And Zach, no to the spin count, please. I don't need the shame.
Yeah, I already did that to you.
Oh shit!
We don't need that another.
Damn it!
I'll be the nice one here. I'm not gonna do it. All right.
Okay, appreciate it.
I don't know about Zach though, but nonetheless, yeah, I won't be. Trust me. But once again, congratulations on your win, and congratulations to Gary and Yorster on their podium on what was a enthralling Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. But be sure to tune in next week for the Australian Grand Prix. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as well, as we have Tier 1 and Tier 2 running around the streets of Jeddah as well. And next week, like I said, the Australian Grand Prix starting with Realistic on Thursday, and then we're here once again for Tier 3. But from Zach and I, that's going to be everything here tonight. Good day, goodbye, see you tomorrow for Tier 1 and